Hey everybody, Nick here, and first off, I apologize for my voice. Not, my voice in general, which probably does merit an apology, but also my voice here this evening. I sound like boiled hell. That's just, I feel fine. I'm okay. I just happened that my throat sounds like it's about to fall out. So, sorry about that, but that's the thing. We are going to disassemble here today this little guy. This is the Elijah Isham and WE Knives Arrakis, based on the named after the Dune series. So let's go on ahead and see what can be done about this little guy taking it apart. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and start off. Looks like we're looking at a T8 pivot here. I'm not really 100% sure how I'm going to go about disassembling this knife. The simple fact of the matter is that it's doing the half integral thing again. What I'm wondering though is when I pop this guy out, it looks like, okay, the lock bar is actually a part of the green surface here. So it's possible that I can remove, let's see here, is that, yeah, I may just treat this like an integral. Rather than taking this apart, taking this apart, taking this apart, I probably could do that, but honestly, I'm not seeing a strong need to. So, barring further tribulations, what I'm going to go on ahead and do is just pop out the pivot here through the other side. That will allow me to remove the blade, remove the bearings. There are not metal washers in there, are there? It doesn't look to be. That'll let me get everything cleaned out of here, and then we can put everything back together, and problem will be solved. So, there you go. In terms of construction, like I said, it looks like the lock bar is a part of the green chunk. So hold on, my freaking space heater's on. Believe it or not, in the San Diego, in the wintertime, it can still get a little bit cold. Not like by Michigan standards. Oh, no. That is like, 49 degrees out there right now. It's, about 10 p.m. So, it's cold enough that in a house without any heat, it's not a bad idea to have a space heater around. But I'm also kind of a wimp at this point. That's what San Diego does to you. It makes you a wimp. All right, back at the ranch. We have a WE Knives Arrakis here. Let me go on ahead and disassemble that. So we've got everything. I mean, the construction on this guy is not crazy. Well, it is crazy, but it's not that out of line. What you got here are these two titanium overlays, which screw into the integral bottom part here. So it's sort of that half integral thing Elijah's been doing lately. But ultimately, I mean, it's not like, oh my God, huge, novel. I mean, it's new, I think, from him. Well, it's new to everybody but him. But he's been doing it a couple of times now. So it's not like such a shock. And functionally speaking, it's not winning you too much. It's not hurting you any, but it's not winning you too much either. So yeah, there's that. The other thing I want to make sure is that the stop pin stays in place. If that falls out, I've got myself a, well, not a big problem. But at the very least, I want that to be in place when I reassemble the whole thing. So I've gone ahead, I've cleaned off the blade, I cleaned off the back spaces. I should clean off the pivot as well. And then right now I'm kind of just getting in here and trying to remove and degunk. Practically speaking, this is factory fresh, so I don't have a strong need to do any of this. Okay, so see what just happened there? In one side or another of this, the steel washer that goes inside there popped out. I was able to get it back in there, but that does mean that steel washer is separable from the rest of the affair. So I just need to keep an eye on that, make sure those stay in position. So, yeah, interesting little knife here. The reason I'm doing this here tonight is that, well, I know that in the next week or so, I'm going to want to carry this guy for review, and so I need to have it cleaned out in order to be able to do so. So, I'm going ahead and doing that. I'm going to go ahead and use, well, it's already in my hand, and it's actually got this nice little lure lock thing with a bent needle on it. This is some 10-weight nano oil. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just drip a little tiny bit onto this area right here, the inside there, a little bit here. That is one advantage to this, because this is just a syringe. Come here. It's just a syringe tip on there, so you can install any needle of any variety, length, width, etc. that you'd like, which is actually kind of nice. It makes for a, whoa there. We're dripping freaking oil like crazy. Hex on Shabazz strikes again. And I'm applying a little bit to the lock bar ball. Or the dent ball, that is. Lock bar ball. Good God. Sit here trying to tell you I'm okay, but I'm calling it a lock bar ball. Folks, it's been a long week. But that's okay. I've got myself a little bit of spare time here. The wife happens to be at work, so it's just like, what the heck else am I doing with my life? Really, I should be doing work stuff, but, I gotta pretend to have some semblance of work-life balance, right? He says, jokingly. This is the U.S. Work-life balance, not a thing. Alrighty, so, back at the ranch. One thing to note, this is a non-free spinning pivot because we have a little shelf here. We have a little cutout here that allows those things to not contact. Next step is going to be to slide this whole affair back into here. Because there's a little basically pit that the washers, that the bearings that is need to go into. So I need to do that very carefully. I need to basically make sure that the two bearings get into position here. And then I need to make sure they remain in position during the time that I put the blade in there. How am I going to do this? Because you have to work a little bit vertically when the bearings that is are, okay, there we go. Oh, no, you little bastard, go back in there. So what I've done there is I use this little watch spring bar tool. And by the way, if you're ever curious about the tools I'm using for disassembly, I've got a whole video about that. My goal here is to keep these vertically enough that they just stay in position. Now what I can do is I can slide... Yeah, I've gone ahead and lubricated things where need be. What I can do is I can slide the blade in between these two bearings. So now at this point, I completely botched that. There we go. Now at this point, the bearings are sort of in position and will be held in place by the blade. So now I get to slide the pivot through here. So let's go ahead and do some sliding. Need to be careful because right now the blade flops around a little bit. The big thing that I need to keep in mind is that in order to get everything seated in here, I'm actually going to need to disengage the lock bar. There we go. So I had to press that down. That allowed me to disengage the lock bar. And the reason I had to do that is because the lock bar and the stop pin, the blade needs to be touching both of those at once. And if the lock bar is in position, I won't be able to touch stop pin, etc. I'm going to disengage it one more time here to get the pivot sort of rotated. Actually, the pivot will rotate to where I need it to do anyways as I'm screwing this back together. So that's okay. Put this into here. Alrighty. Man, I sound like hell. That's okay. Alright. No? Pivot, you're not rotating. Alright. So, what I'm going to do then instead is loosen this up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to shut the blade here. That way it takes some things out of the scenario. It's way too loose right now, but that's okay. I kind of want it to be. So what I want to do here is find some method or another to press this and rotate it. How do I rotate you? Let's try this piece of leather. So I use this piece of leather on occasion for things like this because it literally cannot scratch the titanium or whatever. So it allows me to exert some force without really running the risk of hurting anything substantial. So I'm trying to use the raised edges of the WE. There. Okay, someone's just throwing stuff away loudly. That didn't work. Alright, how else am I going to do this? Because my problem here, fundamentally, you may be thinking, well, Nick, it's put back together. What's your issue here? My issue is that sooner or later, though, this could rotate around again. And then at that point in time, I've got a problem because then it's going to be, when I rotate it around again, it could fall deeper into things. And then my pivot becomes suddenly very loose. And that's not great. So what I'm going to do, I've kind of backed it further out here. I'm going to try and rotate it by the edges here. Okay. Now let's see if that gets me into alignment here. Press this all the way down. Again, I have to lift the lock bar here. There we go. So now we've popped the rest of the way in. We're flush at the top. And so, cool. That was easy enough. Hey, sweet. This again reinforces something I've said many, many times on the channel, which is that you shouldn't use brute force when you can possibly avoid it. When doing knife disassembly and maintenance, brute force is but that was a nice action. Brute force is just so seldom needed. All right. Right now we are being slightly off center. Let me tighten that up. Yeah, now we are dead on. What if I loosen you up a little bit here? Too loose. Way too loose. Tighten things up. Dead center. Smooth deploy. Smoother deploy, actually. There we go. We are all set here. So, yeah, you never need to use brute... Well, never. You very seldom need to use brute force, and very often, if you feel like you do, you're probably doing something wrong. There's probably a more graceful way in. So, anyways, there we go. This is the WE Knives Arrakis. That's how you disassemble and maintain it. At least that's one approach, too. You could probably have popped these guys off and done this maybe slightly simpler, but, yeah, nevertheless, there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.